So today is actually quite warm, and I've decided to get out of bed. See, my hair looks a bit bright when it's down. Um, and I am still working on this magazine. I'm filling out the blank pages that they left out because I didn't know. And it's got me thinking about questions, because I'm trying to work out, like, it's a religion. I would call it my religion because I don't feel like I'm basing it on enough facts. I feel like my higher self would leave clues in things that I like, such as chocolates. But yeah, saying that the universe is, or the MW is 21 billion years just because I came across a magazine might sound that says that the history starts from that point on, but then doesn't actually talk about the history because he says that at that time he didn't that it's not uncertain what happened. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough evidence to back up what I'm saying. That comes later. A religion is where you kind of make up something that you think is the truth and you talk about it as it's the truth, and then later you do the research and discover whether or not you're right. I think Christianity is an example of that. People wrote a Bible believing that this was the truth. A lot of people foolishly believed it without real evidence, and other people try to find evidence, and they said that they have evidence, and yet it's like, no, that's not evidence. That's not evidence. And you listen to what the evidence is, and you're just like, that's not evidence. And maybe thinking all the things that I'm bringing forth on the evidence is not evidence, but it semi mildly detaches is similar to what humans believe anyway. Scientists who have telescopes and stuff. I do not have a telescope. I've never seen it or been into a telescope thing. And but yeah, I'm just making up stuff, but it's basically that I think it's truth. But yeah, when I'm trying to think about Tinny, I feel like she definitely died, but I feel like she was a great leader. And I'm trying to think about the next page that I'm writing, and I wanted to guest talk about Tinny and the gods, or other gods that I might have known, and I don't know. I know there's probably loads of them. If I've done 70 timelines, I think that it really depends on how many gods you create from those timelines. Like, I have a feeling that if I were to create timelines, I would focus mostly on timelines that kind of center on me and give me a nice sort of welcome. Okay, maybe I'm sure there's always a tribulation. Usually it lasts a year. I'm sure I've done about 20 out of the 70 timelines. I would say at least 20 of them would be 1 yearly ones, because that would explain why I was so certain that something would happen within a year, because I've done them, thinking when trying to work out what's going to happen in the future. I felt like I kept bringing back my memories of being in a Big Brother show for a whole year and doing the whole tribulation whilst in the Big Brother show. Um, but yeah, when I kind of think about how many people were in these timelines, I think we're talking millions, definitely not billions. I do think I've done 7 year tribulations before. Um, and I didn't think that it would be any longer than that. Why? Because a part of me feels like I have done 7 year tribulations before, probably two. My guess would be two. So if you're trying to work out how old you are, it's not about it's not about how many timelines you've done. Likewise, if you're trying to work out how old you as a human are, it's not about how many past lives you've had, because I believe that Britney Spears, for example, has had 15 past lives, but I think she died before 15 in all of them, except for the one that she's in now. So um, her soul is actually quite young because she hasn't lived that many years old, haven't been alive for that many years. When you die, I think when you die and you're on a planet, as like a human, your soul basically just sleeps. I mean, maybe there's something more to it. I do believe in ghosts, so but then again, I've also seen a ghost of someone who was actually alive and living in the same bedroom that I was in when I went on this camp. So just because you see a ghost, that doesn't mean you're actually seeing like a living soul. It could just be like a replay of something that happened in the past. There was someone that walked from A to B and did that kind of movement and wore that kind of clothes. But is that person actually alive then? Maybe not. Maybe you're just seeing like an echo. God lives outside of time, and therefore time travel is possible. And because you're made in my image, maybe maybe your brain somehow links onto some sort of time thing where you start seeing things that have actually, once happened. Because I believe my higher